So in continuation with the vector model of atom, today we are going to discuss a very important experiment performed by Stern-Gerlach and known as Stern-Gerlach experiment. According to this experiment, what Stern-Gerlach in 1921, they performed this experiment in 1921, and they showed that here they took a oven like this. This is a oven. Here the two slits, and in this oven they took silver atoms, neutral silver atoms, and a collimated beam of light from this is allowed to pass through an inhomogeneous magnetic field. The inhomogeneous magnetic field means they have put like this. Suppose this is S, this is N, and this is your like this, right? This is your inhomogeneous magnetic field, and here they put an screen. On this screen, what they obtained, the two traces of light. Basically, when this oven is heated, the beam of silver atoms starts moving forward, and it is collimated through a slit. The two slits are there to collimate the beam, and this beam passes through this inhomogeneous magnetic field. What they obtained over here, that they've obtained that this beam produces two traces, symmetrical traces on the photographic plate. So they confirmed that when this beam passes through this inhomogeneous medium, as you all know, the atoms behave like magnets, and since that magnet, when passes through the magnetic field, it experiences a deflecting force. Due to the deflecting force, it gets deflected. Since the magnetic field is inhomogeneous, so due to the inhomogeneity of the magnetic field, these lines or these magnets passing through this magnetic field, they are divided into two symmetrical traces, and we obtain two symmetrical traces over here. Actually, suppose if the atoms have got all possible orientations, then what would have been there, the result? If the atoms would have been in the all possible orientations, then they have, after passing through the homogeneous, this magnetic field, they have formed a band rather than the traces. Here we would have got a band, but we are getting only two discrete traces, shows that there are two possible orientations of each magnet. That is the neutral atom, which is behaving like a magnet, has got only two orientations. One is your clockwise orientation, the other is anti-clockwise orientation. For this, Philip and Taylor in 1927, they performed an experiment and said that Philip and Taylor performed this experiment and said that the beam, when passes through this, they performed with different type of sets of experiments and concluded that if the L is equal to 0, and suppose S was also equal to 0, L was equal to 0, and suppose S was supposed to be 0, S came out to be 0, L is 0 and S is also 0, then J equal to 0. J equal to 0 means the beam would have gone and produced have only one trace like this, one line. But in all the experiments, they got two orientations, two traces, which confirms that there is a spin, and that spin is along the, here they have taken S is equal to 0, if for L is equal to 0, J was equal to 0, but it was not the case. S was plus minus half. S was plus minus half. So they have got the two traces over here. Now the 2 points also are very important to notice over here. That is, if in place of inhomogeneous magnetic field we have put homogeneous magnetic field, then what would have been the result? If homogeneous magnetic field have been put rather than inhomogeneous magnetic field, then the beam which is passing through this magnetic field would have produced a single line, because all the atoms have now been deflected. They have experienced a deflecting torque, and due to that they have been producing like this, some like this. But here in Stern-Gerlach experiment, what happens? They produce like this. So means homogeneous magnetic field produces a single line, inhomogeneous magnetic field produces a trace of the lines. The two traces are obtained. This is your Stern-Gerlach experiment. On the basis of this, as Philip and Taylor in 1927, they showed that the spin has got two orientations, plus half and minus half. The Stern-Gerlach experiment, along with Philip Taylor and Taylor conclusion, showed that the existence of electron spin experimentally. This is the importance of this Stern-Gerlach experiment. Here only atoms have been, neutral atoms have been put in the oven rather than ions. If ions would have been placed in place of silver atoms, then they would have experienced a Lorentz force also, and due to that Lorentz force they might have produced no or one single beam of light at the screen. So in place of ions, atoms are used, and atoms are used, and first thing is this, and second is the magnetic field applied is inhomogeneous. This was the beauty of this Stern-Gerlach experiment. Now I am going to explain or demonstrate the two possible orientations of the spin of any atom, spin orbital line. As you know, from if S is the spin of any magnet atom, then S is equal to under root of S into S plus 1 into H upon Y. This is the value of spin quantum number S from quantum mechanics. From quantum mechanics, we obtain that S is equal to under root of S into S plus 1 H upon 2 pi. Or here the possible value of S is taken to be half. So capital S is equal to half into half plus 1, that is root 3 upon 2 into H upon. This is equation. Now the Z component of it, the magnetic field is directed along Z axis, then the Z component of this spin magnetic moment is Sz. Sz comes out to be how much? Ms into H upon Y, where Ms can take values. Ms can take values plus 1 upon 2 and minus 1. As you all know, if this is the spin, suppose this is spin S, then it is making an angle of theta with the like this. This is processing about this Z axis. Then S is along this direction, Sz is along this direction. S is along this direction, Sz is along this direction. This Sz component of S along this direction can be written as Sz is equal to S cos theta, or cos theta is equal to Sz upon S. Sz upon S. Cos theta is Sz upon S. Now it can have two values. One value is for Ms is equal to 1 upon 2, positive value. Ms is equal to 1 upon 2, then this cos theta is equal to Sz is half into h upon 2 pi upon root 3 by 2 h upon 2 pi. This cancelled out, or root 3. This is 1 upon root 3. This is equal to 1 upon. So cos theta comes out to be 1 upon root 3. Cos theta, value of cos theta is 1 upon root 3. So cos theta is 1 upon root 3, or this value is 0.577, right? Here theta is equal to, theta comes out to be how much? That comes out to be 54.7 degrees. Theta is 54.7 degrees. The other value is for ms is equal to, for minus half, this cos theta is equal to how much? That is minus 1 upon root 3, or is equal to minus 0.577, or theta comes out to be how much? Theta comes out to be, this comes out to be equal to 125 degree, 125.3 degrees. So if I want to say demonstrate the possible orientations, then the possible orientations of S are like this. This is Z direction, this is S, right? This is, so we have got two possible orientations of S. The other one is along this direction, and the other way along this direction. This angle is 54.7 degree, and this angle is 125.3 degrees. 125.3 degrees. Means here ms is how much? Ms is equal to plus half, and here ms is equal to minus half. And orientations are like this. This value of Sz is 1 upon 2 Sz, that is equal to 1 upon 2 ms into h upon 2 pi, and this is your minus 1 upon 2 h upon 2 pi. So this processes like this, and this processes like this, right? This is S. If S is equal to small s is half, then capital S processes at an angle of 54.7 degree, that is this one. And if it is S is equal to plus minus half, ms is equal to minus half, then this processes about this axis. It's like this. So this is about the you can say the spin orientations. Spin orientation.